Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor for me talking to you today. My name is Oren Gerstein. I'm an Israeli. In the last 20 years involved in the high-tech industry in Israel, in venture capital, and managed tech incubator over a decade. In the last few years, working with government around the world enabled them to develop knowledge economy capabilities. I want to take the upcoming minutes and talk to you about the lesson learned of the Israeli success story for Argentina innovation. Wishing to doing so by leading you through two parallel journeys. One of them is the development of the high-tech ecosystem in Israel, which considered to be the second Silicon Valley of the world. And the second journey is about CITES. CITES is the first early stage venture capital in Argentina of its kind, and probably in the entire Latin America. A few words about knowledge economy. Knowledge economy is basically all about the understanding that when you're using raw material and energy, you have less of them. When you're using knowledge, you have more of it. Well, neither of the things that I'm going to share with you was developed in the last 200 years and not in the last 100 years. It's all started less than 3 decades ago. Mid-80s, the Israeli economy is based on traditional industry, textile and agricultural. Textile is shifting to the Far East. Agricultural is a bit challenging with lack of water and hyperinflation of 450% a year. This is Israel today, the nations with the largest multinational per capita in the world, and a long list of other success indicators. It's called startup nation. It's only third after the state in China with number of companies listed on the NASDAQ. It's first in the numbers of startup per capita. It's first in the world of investment of venture capital per capita. In a huge success stories and a long list of those success stories. Well, success stories in these industries are in the forms of exit. So you're taking an idea, developing the idea within a framework of a legal entity, and sell it to a third party. And you can see exit that's moving on the spectrum between tens of millions to hundreds of millions. And there are exits in billions. Exit in billions called mega exit. In 2017, Intel wrote a check of $15.3 billion on a technology that was developed in the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. And you can see those mega exits taking place almost on a yearly basis. Venture capital investment per capita, Israel is about twice as much as the States and about 20 times more than Europe and China altogether. Israel export knowledge in 2017 in total amount of $23 billion, which was a bit above the average, but it's a significant achievement in amount of resources. It's a tiny country. It's a very, very tiny country. It's only 21,000 square kilometers, about 1/8 of the size of Cordova, and about 1/6 of the size of Santa Fe. GDP per capita around 38,000 US. But the nation is located in a place which we cannot trade with our neighbors, leave politics aside, we just can't trade with our neighbors. Therefore, Israeli entrepreneurs develop a unique strategy of going globally from day one. And by that, they are bridging the risk of not being able to do or developing a product to a potential market which is very, very small. Israeli companies have developed unique tactics and processes and mindsets to create strategic partners from day one with global players, North America, Europe, India, China, Latin America, in order to develop their companies to be global from day one. The innovation cycle in Israel is very unique. Well, government is raining grant all year long and collects its benefits through exit, taxes, royalties, and foreign investments. Just for example, the exit from a deal that was paid by Intel was around $7.5 billion of taxes to the state of Israel. Well, those grants are not R&D grants. They are very unique, and they have been structuring and given in a unique way. First, they are being given as a co-investment with the private sector, and the scheme of that, in the structure of those grants, and there is a long list. There are about 40 R&D programs that are managing by the Innovation Authority in Israel, aiming to reduce risk for the private sector and incentivizing the private sector to invest more and more of its own resources. Israel leading the index of gross domestic spending on R&D out of the GDP. Well, those are expenditures, those are not investments. And in 2015, that was around $13 billion. This is salaries, raw material, manufacturing in small scales for Israeli engineers and Israeli employees. Israel leading this index in the last decade and a half. Most amazing is the fact that 83% out of that is private resources, meaning those expenditures is being done by the private business sector. And most amazing is that about 51% out of that, it's not even Israeli money, it's foreign investors that are investing in Israel in forms of multinationals or in forms of venture capital. In Israel, there are today over 360 multinationals companies. Now, those are not front offices of selling licenses or products. Those are R&D centers that are paying salaries to Israeli engineers and developing their own future product of those multinationals. Well, again, we didn't have that from the beginning of days. Mid-70s, the state of Israel have only three main multinationals players: IBM, Motorola, and Intel. And until the beginning of the 90s, nothing really changed. In the beginning of the 90s, end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s, more and more large and leading multinationals coming and open their R&D centers in Israel. They are doing so for two reasons. One of them is that they are buying companies in Israel, and they needed to manage them. And the other reason that brought those multinationals to Israel is the fact that they cannot allow themselves not to be with the front office or with the R&D centers in Israel, because they might lose an opportunity that their competitors will achieve. Another important element talking about the Israeli ecosystem is about the culture. Well, the culture of entrepreneurship. It's been studied in university, it's been studied in high school, it's been practiced in high school. In every week that you will come to Israel, there will be a conference about innovation. But probably one of the most significant elements is the fact that the Israeli culture is embracing failure, not incentivizing failures, but embracing failures and enabling people to take the risk and try to go with their dreams. And if they fail, nothing has happened. In most cases, they will be ranked higher because they have the experience of what is it to fail, and probably will not following the same mistakes in the future. Well, the question is, can the Israeli story be duplicated? No, it cannot be duplicated. Dozens of governments sending delegations to Israel trying to duplicate and failing one after the others. Can that be implemented? Well, the answer is yes. I will share with you two success stories which I was involved in the last 5 years. The first one is New Zealand. New Zealand is the first nation ever succeeded to implement technology incubator program similar to the one that there is in Israel. Well, a few words about this program. It's a very sophisticated, aggressive, and advanced policies that enable bridging a market failure and reduce risk for advanced technologies and risky ideas, and then enable the private sector taking those ideas and continue to develop those ideas. They have invested around $50 million in the last 5 years, running 3 tech incubators, which created more than 40 companies, and considered to be a huge success. The other example is Argentina, which is the other way around. And if New Zealand was kind of a top-down, then Argentina is kind of a bottom-up. Well, it's about CITES. CITES is a unique early-stage venture capital investing in disruptive basic and applied science and IP-based projects. And of course, addressing global market from day one, based on the same philosophy of the Israeli company, and at the same time leading the development of Argentinian science-based entrepreneurial ecosystem. Well, they are located in the province of Santa Fe, in a small city called Sunchales, and the entire journey with CITES started only 4 years ago. So again, the results that I'm about to share with you took place very, very fast. A group of visionary and dream people from the management of Grupo Sangro Seguros that decided to establish innovative center in order to support and enable the local companies in the province to compete in the nations and compete globally. So the Conference of Innovation took places in August 2014, only 4 years ago. And you can see a representative from the Inter-Latin American Developing Bank, representative from the Minister of Productions in Argentina those days, and of course, representative of the board of Grupo Sangro Seguros that was supporting this initiative. Well, during the last 4 years, I was on site in Argentina a week, every month and a half, in developing the soft skills exactly the same way that they are being executed in Israel, and the results did not late to come. Again, less than 4 years. In the last 4 years, I've worked with an amazing group of young, talented people. Many of them, almost all of them, less than 40 years old, within CITES, and developed one of the most sophisticated early-stage venture capital in Argentina, and probably of its kind in Latin America. Well, a bit about the results. In the last 4-5 years, CITES has screened more than 600 or 700 ideas that come from all around Latin America, but not only Latin America. And I can mention that lately, it was not just screening ideas and having a deal flow and the understanding that there is uniqueness in their soft skills and knowledge and capabilities, that lately an IP from the very respectable research institute, the Pasteur Institute in Paris, together with the Uruguayan entrepreneurs, has relocated to Argentina, to Sunchales, in order to develop an idea that was developed in Pasteur Institute in Paris. Well, they could develop that in any other countries in the world, and choosing to do so within Argentina and with CITES, which is symbolized a lot. CITES since then structured a fund of about $30 million, succeeded to get the CEPIMA tender and to have a franchise to manage a scientific accelerator with the Ministry of Productions in the process of structuring a public venture capital vehicle, and was just lately was acknowledged by the Inter-Latin American Developing Bank, which is a international financial institute, that CITES have unique capabilities which are not comparable to any other vehicle in venture capital within Latin America. Well, all of that was done in less than 4 years. And the message around it is mainly about the soft skills, the commitment of Grupo Sanco Seguros, the vision of the management of Grupo Sanco Seguros to lead a change in the nation, and the soft skills that was acquiring during this process. And that was a lead to 3 different policies that was announced last year by the Ministry of Productions of public-private partnerships for funds of funds, scientific accelerators, and technology accelerators. We need to remember that leading those change, developing knowledge economy capabilities, require people, leaders, which are capable of swimming upstream. And a dead fish can flow downstream, but it's take a live one to swim upstream. Part of the challenges is going in a way that nobody before you has opened. And I can share with you my experience in the last 20 years, and there is nothing which is rocket science around those type of activity. It's only hard work and visionary people that capable to develop those kinds of environment locally, in provinces, nationally, in federal, within the federal government, or with any other environment. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great pleasure talking to you. Muchas gracias.